Good morning, everyone. Well, before we jump into anything, I have a big announcement. The alleged special feature I've been working on is no longer an allegation. It is now a full reality premiering this Friday. That is going to be the special feature on the unreleased January 6 footage, which we've gotten access to. I'll show you a trailer before we jump to YouTube, but let's jump into some stories first. It's happening. We got the footage. It's been quite the process, but we'll be talking more about it. It'll be this Friday, I think 9 a.m. Eastern time, we premiere it. So get ready, folks. That said, let's talk about some other news first. I'll show you the trailer. We'll jump into questions once we jump over to YouTube. Dark Brandon. Who remembers the meme? Dark Brandon. It's the Joe Biden meme that portrays him as like a king of the underworld who crushes his enemies, basically. Funny enough, the Biden team seems to like it. Like they embraced it and they sell merch with it and stuff. But the Trump team right now is using I almost called him Dark Brandon. Joe Biden's Dark Brandon like meme use as evidence that Biden might have done the same thing they're accused of Trump of doing, which is giving an underhanded or let's say veiled threat against the other side. Let me explain. Here's Newsweek first. It says Trump complains about Biden's Dark Brandon mug video. And it says President Joe Biden capitalized on former President Donald Trump's third criminal indictment by advertising a Dark Brandon mug, according to the ex-president's legal team. It says in a Monday court filing responding to the Justice Department's request for a protective order in the January 6 case, Trump's lawyers claim that Biden shared a thinly veiled reference to the indictment, by advertising the mug as part of his presidential re-election campaign on the same day that the ex-president was arraigned in Washington, D.C. Funny they call Trump ex-president. They don't call Obama ex-president. Let me show you the video first, and then I'll explain why it matters. So this is Dark Brandon. This is Joe Biden's video he published as Trump was being arraigned in the third round of indictments. Let me show you what Joe Biden published while Trump was pleading not guilty.
I like my coffee dark.
Now, he doesn't say much, but the obvious focus is, of course, on the mug, which shows Joe Biden with glowing red eyes. And the reference to that is the Dark Brandon meme. Now, the Biden administration, again, released it right before Trump was being arraigned on August 3rd, right before Trump pled not guilty, in fact. So the timing did give the appearance that this was in relation to Trump facing charges. The Dark Brandon meme, the background of it is important because the background of that meme related to the timing is what the Trump team will be pointing at. Let me explain to you what that was. Now, the Dark Brandon meme, funny enough, started out in China. It was Chinese netizens who created this like art of Joe Biden, portraying him as like a ruthless king of hell. Funny enough. And it started with a meme that said, I have it here, the sleeping king ascends the throne, the devil is resurrected. And this is actually the Chinese Weibo page where you see it. Let me click on one of maybe the one that shows him on the throne. Well, you can see the one with the glowing red eye, with the glowing eyes, and this one they're yellow. And so this is the Dark Brandon meme, started again in China. And the meme since took on a life of its own. The Biden team saw this, hey, Joe Biden's popular on the internet. I mean, it was one of two things. It was like, hey, Joe Biden's popular on the internet. What happened? And it was either that they were like, hey, the kids like this, let's use it. Or it was, hey, this is kind of cool, let's use it. I think the idea that portraying Biden as a devil ascending, or the king of hell, like ascending the throne of hell and crushing his enemies, I don't know how they thought that's a good thing. I think they think it's cool, is the reality of it. I think they think it's a cool image for Biden, and Biden doesn't normally have that image publicly. I think in his own mind he does. He still kind of has this like greaser, 1950s persona, and when he tries to act cool, that's what he talks about. What's up, fat? you know, there were some cool cats. Corn Pop was a mean dude. It's that kind of talk. you know, fighting with rusty razors and getting a pool chain to go fight Corn Pop in the alley. That's the greaser image that he likes. And so you could see his team being like, "Hey, this is a cool image for you. Let's run with it." Now, they ended up using all kinds of merch. They ended up using it. Some people said that when Joe Biden did his, fire and fury speech where he was calling out the MAGA extremists, and they had like the blood red set behind him, and it was like all black and red, and even the mainstream media like CNN and stuff, they changed the color so that the blood red became pink. They messed with the color settings. A lot of people said that Biden was basically using the nature of that meme. And not necessarily Biden, but more like his aides or the team behind him. They were trying to use that image, right? Now, that being said, the importance with all this is how it relates to, again, whether this is about Trump. Because if you remember the context now with Donald J. Trump, is Trump made this post saying, what was it? I'm coming after you. If you come after me, I'm coming after you, right? That was the big thing that Trump did. The prosecutors in the Washington case, they want to have a protective order on Trump because he said that. They're saying that when Trump said, if you come after me, if you come after me, I'm coming after you. They were saying that was a threat made possibly to the judge or the prosecutor or, somebody. It wasn't quite clear. Trump's team denies that. They say that Trump was just making a general statement protected by free speech, which didn't have a particular target, but was in reference to like super PACs and so on like that. And of course, Trump's been attacked by a lot of people. Look, Jack Smith, the special counsel, did like a 10-minute tirade where he painted Trump as like an evil insurrectionist. Normal circumstances, you would be able to counterattack, at least, verbally and, at least clear your name. And so under normal circumstances, unless you were threatening physical violence, that would be totally acceptable speech. What Trump is doing with this is, of course, they're trying to avoid that protective order. If the judge agrees with this protective order, and they're still fighting it right now, right? They're still fighting that protective order right now. If the judge agrees to that, what's going to happen? Sorry, one sec. If the judge agrees to that, what's going to happen? Well, it basically means that Trump can't talk about the content of the case. So any evidence they get on election fraud, any evidence they get through discovery or through subpoenas on January 6th, Trump cannot talk about it. There's been a protective order, and he's muzzled. And remember, one of Trump's big campaign speeches right now is, they stole the election, they robbed me, we're going to take it back. And, he's being attacked with the January 6th narrative and the election denier narrative. If they put a muzzle on him through a protective order, he would not be able to defend himself. And if he gets evidence, and Trump, right? Imagine Trump gets evidence of election fraud. Imagine through discovery or through subpoenas, he gets the evidence. Do you think he's going to abide by that protective order? No. If he got evidence of January 6th that they rigged the whole thing, do you think he'd be quiet about it? I certainly do not. And so a protective order would be really damaging to him, especially when the left is attacking him relentlessly on it. He would not be allowed to clear his own name or defend his own honor in that sense. They would be depriving him of one of his main campaign defenses, which, again, the main campaign weapon against him being used is election denier insurrectionist. January 6th is like the October surprise, basically, of the left. It's the narrative they've been using the strongest to try to, take down Trump. And so him avoiding that is a big deal. We'll see if he actually gets it, because the judge doesn't seem to like him very much. But by pointing to Joe Biden referencing the Dark Brandon meme while Trump is being indicted does have that same type of reference. The suggestion with it, in context of the nature of that meme, is that Biden crushes his enemies. You see? And if his main enemy, his main political opponent, Donald Trump, is pleading guilty to, what I would say are trumped up charges personally, pleading guilty to these, charges through Biden's special counsel, and then Biden makes this celebratory, I like my coffee dark, dark Brandon, drink dark Brandon coffee, that kind of image. It does have that same underhanded, strike type reference. It suggests that Biden is crushing Trump, basically. And so, we'll see what happens with it, but that's the nature of it. A lot of you are asking about the J6 video. I'll show you the trailer in just a minute. Let me talk about one more thing first. Let me show you one more piece right here. On the FBI, I'll just show you the main thing on it. A U.S. judge is ordering a former Fox News reporter to reveal her sources for a story involving the FBI. And also another story, the White House is bracing for an FBI spy tool fight. The FBI is under the microscope right now, and it looks like they don't want information coming out specifically on their FISA tools. FISA tools. It's the way that they get contracts to spy on people. Remember when Trump was president and they launched the whole fake Trump-Russia thing? It's fake, we can say it for sure now. They launched the whole fake Trump-Russia thing against him. One of the big things that came out was what they called FISA abuse. That was the nature of the Spygate scandal. Spygate as in Watergate, meaning the Obama administration at the time was illegally spying on his campaign enemy, similar to what Richard Nixon was accused of, right? But far, far worse. Funny enough that as we've learned about the fake Trump-Russia thing, the whole Spygate scandal kind of got swept under the rug. You don't hear as much about it. But the FBI, the Obama FBI, was spying on Trump and many of Trump's associates. Remember, Trump said, he made the famous tweet, they spied on me, they put a bug in Trump Tower. That was the whole narrative. Trump actually moved his residence because of this. And the FBI, of course, was spying on the main political enemy then of Barack Obama, and also the main opponent of Hillary Clinton at the time, who was the other major candidate. That spy tool is now being exposed to an extent, although in my opinion, not nearly enough. The public, for some reason, doesn't seem to be as on this as they were the expose of the whole Trump-Russia scandal and the Steele dossier. The FISA abuse got really overshadowed by all of that. And so if this comes out, though, that FBI was basically abusing this, well, that's a violation, I believe, of the Fourth Amendment against illegal searches and seizures. It suggests that the government, the Obama administration in this case, and actually even under Trump, because the FBI was apparently acting against him while he was president, they were illegally spying on his campaign and then illegally spying on him when he was president, and then used those illegal spying powers to even try to remove him from office. So I mean, it was pretty serious. If that story reemerges, it's going to be a whole new scandal for mainly Obama, but Biden by extension, because Biden was vice president. And Biden was actually in on some of the conversations with Obama on that. Things we know publicly, but the public, I think, has mostly forgotten about that scandal. Given that context, it makes sense that the FBI is trying to cover it up. The FBI, the White House are saying, is bracing for the FBI spy tool fight, probably because they also want to keep that power. But also, this judge ordering this former Fox News reporter, I think she's with CBS now, funny enough, they say former FBI or former. Anyways, I think she's with CBS now. But regardless, there's going to be a fight over this. That's going to be one of the big stories coming out soon. So we'll be covering it quite a bit. That said, folks, the moment is upon us. This Friday, I'm going to be releasing a special feature about the unreleased January 6 footage. We got access to the more than 40,000 hours of unreleased footage on January 6. We're Epoch Times is the third media. The other two were made public. We're the third one. And so, let me show you the trailer for that. Again, it comes out this Friday, and then we'll jump into questions over on Epoch TV. So those of you on YouTube, join us on Epoch TV, Epoch TV, and I'll see you there. We'll jump over right after the trailer. So let me show you now. What was the process of actually putting this all together?
Many hours of finding the right camera angles and watching it. The first trouble started just after 1 o'clock.
45 pages, here it is right here. Donald Trump has been indicted.
Somber day for the country.
This all happened before President Trump's speech was over.
The founder of the Oath Keepers militia group is headed to prison for more than 18 years.
His lawyers didn't have this video. The video we're watching right now, his own lawyers did not have. There was a big question of what did the people do who actually did enter the building.
This is where we picked it up with the security footage that is new. At this point, the story dramatically changes.
The New Jersey man who assaulted a Capitol police officer on January 6th has been sentenced.
So this was withheld.
This was not shown to the defense.
That could be considered exculpatory evidence. This doesn't seem like what a lot of the media is showing.
It's going to change narratives no matter what your political perspective is. What we're after is the truth.